Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Well, it seems we have a little bit of a bookend on this week's edition of the heavyweight melodrama, the storm in a teacup that was the potential step aside for former unified champion Anthony Joshua and possibly also Dillian Whyte, which would have allowed a potential undisputed fight between Tyson Fury, WBC champion, and Oleksandr Uysk, who holds the other three main belts. So this was back and forth, lurching, all over the place over the course of the week. Talk of a £15 million step aside, but not to be. So this has fallen over at the 11th hour, as Mike Coppinger reports, saying that there was an agreement in principle for both Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua to step aside and forego planned bouts with Fury and Oleksandr Uysk, respectively, in exchange for millions of dollars. But the deal fell apart after parties attempted to renegotiate at the 11th hour, sources told ESPN. The proposed deal would have paved the way for Fury to fight Usyk for an undisputed heavyweight championship in June in Saudi Arabia, sources said. It's believed the $155 million site fee the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia offered last year for a fight between Fury and Joshua was in play. Money from that package would have gone to both Whyte and Joshua. So obviously the goal of undisputed that I think heavyweight fans have waited for a long time now. It's been a generation since the last time it occurred. Well, we'll just have to wait a little longer. And I think for many of us, we thought that this whole sort of thing sounded a little far-fetched, that they'd be able to get this over the line and done. So it's not exactly surprising that it's fallen over, but now the blame game begins. So Tyson Fury, reacting to that same post by Mike Coppinger, says it's called greed. So by that statement, firmly placing the blame at the hands of Eddie Hearn, who promotes both Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte, saying that obviously this renegotiation at the 11th hour must have been them, or at least alluding to that fact. But in terms of Eddie Hearn, he's come out firing and basically said Tyson Fury didn't want to face Oleksandr Uysk, saying Fury does not want to fight Usyk. Now Whyte will knock you out. So that implies it was the Fury camp that was involved in those late negotiations. I mean, reality is we're probably not going to get all the detail on this, and the bun fight will be had in the media. Hearn also said in this clip that people will never know really what happened because Tyson Fury will say stuff in public to sort of get the eye off things, etc. And Eddie Hearn continues here. What Tyson Fury wants to do is to have a little easy one in March. Now he's going to have to fight Dillian Whyte, and by the way, after all this kerfuffle, he'll get beat by Dillian Whyte. He'll get knocked out by Dillian Whyte. And that was to IFL TV. Fury, of course, responds via social media.
Finished in the gym. I couldn't be any happier, boys and girls. Oh, I'm in a very good mood. For very, very lots of reasons. That's all I gotta say is...
So nothing too specific there, but Fury going on to say in another post, and this is sort of putting that undisputed stuff aside, saying who else can't wait for the fight? The best of Britain. At Dillian Whyte, adding a whole bunch of people. And this fight, Tyson Fury, WBC champion, Dillian Whyte, WBC interim champion. Talk of it obviously for a while now. The purse bid has been pushed back. It seems like the purse bid will go ahead now because obviously these other things in play have potentially sort of pushed it back. But also you've got that outstanding issue that Dillian Whyte wants more than the 20% that the WBC has ordered. So the purse bid, and just we'll quickly go through this because I know a few people have sort of misunderstood that process, saying that Dillian Whyte could get extra in the purse bid. Not the case. Whatever the number is made, it's split 80-20. It's not a case that Whyte could get more. Where he can try to get more is the arbitration action that he's launched through the Court of Arbitration for Sport. That action is reportedly meant to be heard in March. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe there'll be a number that'll get established and maybe Whyte will claw a little bit more. Maybe not. Maybe the Court of Arbitration for Sport will go, well, no, that's appropriate. And Tyson Fury has also a few words for Dillian Whyte.
I can't wait to punch Dillian Whyte's face right in, mate. I'm going to give him the best eye that he's ever had in his life, boy. Dillian Whyte, train hard, sucker, because you're getting annihilated, bum.
But someone who's firing a shot at Tyson Fury is the manager for Oleksandr Uysk, Igor Klimas, saying, yo man, before you next time you will mention Usyk in name, check with your team, management, advisors, promoters, who agreed with all terms and conditions. Looks like you are the one who's holding up this wagon and yelling and talking is cheap at Tyson Fury. Didn't see any response from Fury on that one as yet. Maybe we won't. And just to round out this whole sort of situation, you've also got Peter Fury, the uncle of Tyson Fury, his former trainer as well, weighing in on this whole step-aside issue, saying Usyk must be super confident and smiling at all the step-aside talk, trying to dress it up. It's no more than a swerve to not fight Usyk. Styles make fights, and the world will see one result from this is a no-muss. My unbiased opinion. And I think certainly had Anthony Joshua taken the step aside, you know, you could have made that argument that it's an admission that he can't beat Usyk. But the fact that they were looking to pursue it and pursuing it pretty much to the bitter end, to the 11th hour, as has been reported, well, you know, you could say that maybe Joshua doesn't want to fight Usyk right now. Ultimately, if he goes straight into that rematch, there's a risk of losing, but hey, it's boxing. That can happen anytime. But also there's a risk that Oleksandr Uysk can get knocked out in this fight. But obviously, I think this is an anticipated rematch where Usyk goes in the favourite, especially given what we saw in that first fight. It's not unwinnable for Anthony Joshua. He's going to have to do something different. And that whole doing something different sounds like a more aggressive style, but that will come with its trade-offs as well. But someone who is looking to make a little bit of hay out of this whole situation with the barbs flying on social media is Christopher Lovejoy, the man, the myth, the legend, with the sole loss to Mahmoud Shah on his record, calling out Tyson Fury.
Tyson, I'm coming to see you. Try to hide from if you want to. Try to not respond. I'm coming to see you. Yeah, Manchester, where you at in UK, I'm pulling up. You know what happened in Vegas. We can reenact it. I knocked you out. I'll knock you out again. They stopped, they took my cameraman, all that. Knocked you out the ring. They embarrassed you from your camp. I'm going to see you soon, though.
And just to sort of bookend his sort of statement, at the time that Christopher Lovejoy went into sparring with Tyson Fury, afterwards, Tyson Fury sort of aired him out on social media and said that he put him down on all this sort of stuff and sent him packing within the first day that he was sparring with Tyson Fury. Later, Lovejoy came out with a video disputing that. I mean, I think I would probably believe Fury over Christopher Lovejoy based on what we've seen from the two guys in recent years, but who knows? Sparring is sparring. Moving on to a press conference that happened. This is for the Lawrence Okole's next fight with Sislak. That's at the end of February. Two heavyweight fights on that card. You've got Fabio Wardley. So he was quoted as saying at the press conference, I'm ready to have a big year and push on to win more belts in 2022. I've been cleaning through my opponents fairly easily, and now it's about stepping up. So Wardley, no opponent yet. But I would note, and some of you may have heard this was a couple of months ago, there was a space that was on Twitter where Wardley sort of discussed, you know, the sort of pitfalls with stepping up too quickly, because once you do, as he rightly pointed out, you can't really go back. So he didn't want to rush too fast, given his sort of limited amateur background. But I guess at some point, you know, the tests have to come where you have to really get more of a sort of, you know, view of where he's really at, because some of the guys that he has faced, they've kind of ended up going down pretty meekly. But another heavyweight who's on that card is Demsey McKean, the Australian, who's on a 3-fight deal, I believe, with Matchroom. First fight he had against Don Hainsworth, and he's been lobbed up another pretty soft opponent for a second one. So he's going to be facing Ariel Bracamonte. So some of you may remember him from his fight with Dave Allen from a few years ago. You know, sort of a big guy, likes to let his hands go in fun fights, but it's been diminishing returns for him. So he had a loss to Yevgeny Romanov, followed by a knockout stoppage to Rafael Tronch. On Oraide Ehrami also stopped him just in one round. Arslan Aliev, a Russian prospect, also went through him with a stoppage there, and he's had a couple of wins since. But given where sort of Demsey McKean has been fighting, it's pretty disappointing overall. I mean, I would have hoped for a bit better. Bracamonte is a journeyman, and not a super high-level journeyman at that. He's okay, he's fun, but McKean really should be fighting above this. Bear in mind, a year and a half ago, he had a fight with Jonathan Rice done in Australia and stopped him late in that fight. And we've seen Rice has, obviously had a good sort of gatekeeper level career in the heavyweight division and had a couple of best wins of his career since losing to McKean, beating Michael Polite Coffey. So, I mean, I think we can probably safely say the third fight won't be a soft touch. They'll want to get some value out of this deal that they've got with McKean. But he sort of said, this is pretty much as big as it gets making my UK debut. I'm looking to put on a real clinical performance and win with a clean knockout. Well, Bracamonte is certainly there to hit, but there is also the risk that you could get caught with something because he can punch. Also, having said in that press conference, and you can see the whole thing on Matchroom's YouTube channel, I've been with Tony Sims for about 6 weeks solid now, and the progress is showing. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.